Guess what? Everybody is too old to rake leaves. I'm sorry. Remember these? It has come to my recent attention. I've always known this in some kind of sublayer, but it has come to my recent attention how important fixing your own stuff is. To me, it was normal growing up. I don't know what got into me, but I would take things apart, put them back together, learn how they work. And that felt kind of normal. I didn't have anybody to compare myself to. Like, yeah, you go to school, but you don't have like stuff to, well, I probably took apart something in school, but like, there's a lot less opportunity to see that you care more than other people about taking things apart, about fixing things, about learning how they work. To me, if you learn how to fix something, like 8 out of 10 times, whatever you did in that situation can adapt or apply directly to other fixes. And I've gotten away from it a little bit because I'm such into the tech aspect now, like working on Mother Brain, my PC. I mean, when I say working on, I don't mean like actually tinkering in the case so much. It's just all the digital stuff you can do. And there is a very big distinction between digital work and physical work. And a lot of this has manifested just knowing, okay, just like working on digital stuff, and I'm having a ball, I really am. But always reminding myself that these are just like pixels. Like there's really something lost in translating from analog to digital. Not just on an information side, but on like a lifestyle side, I guess. Anyway, the point, I wanted to just like rant freely about this. This is a screwdriver. More important than ever is something like this. Now, I don't really care for Phillips screwdrivers. I think the best thing you can do with a Phillips screwdriver is probably, from an engineering standpoint, as far as using a Phillips head style screw, is probably reserved for maybe the back of a television remote where you got to get the battery out and you don't just want a quick clip. You know, when you want a little more security for a battery compartment, this is your guy. Otherwise, there's different shapes out there that transfer the load better, don't slip out as much. Phillips screws are antiquated. I actually like flathead screws more, just from an aesthetic. Like I'm building something, I want it to look old or quaint. Flathead screw. Anytime I ever drawn something mechanical and you put screws in there, unless it's actually supposed to represent something you're building, flathead, because they just look cooler. Anyhow, the importance of the screwdriver in today's society is unmatched, unparalleled. Because there's so much proprietary BS happening where like we make a product, whether it's software or hardware. We develop a product and we made it, don't touch it. We made it, don't touch it. If you want it touched, you got to call one of our people or you just can't touch it. This is not the way for me personally. And I bet a lot of you, even some people who don't know that this is important to them, will come up being important down the road. There's that big thing about John Deere, it's called Right to Work or something, right? Where like they're obviously making their tractors. I don't know much about it, so I could be wrong, but they're making their tractors, you know, like super computerized and super hard to work on purpose. And we see what they're doing. It's like, it's not good. It's like selling you a car, even if you're not mechanically minded and you have no interest in getting under the hood. Some of us do. And it's like selling a car and the hood doesn't open. They do everything from behind, or underneath rather. And the longer I'm in like the workforce and the longer that I'm just around, it becomes more important to me. It's one of those things, you know, it doesn't fade. It actually gets more important. That's like, no, you let us work on stuff. That's what I'm going to do. So I want to use this opportunity to spout my business model again. I want people to build a product so damn good because it's their pride, it's their livelihood. They build a product so good that they put it out in the market. They saturate the market that everybody who wants one almost pretty much has one. And then their sales just tank. And they can sell, then you open source your repair parts. Like, here's how you can get this made if you need it made. Or maybe you do still make the parts. But the more I think about this model, the more hyped I get. Because I have a couple ideas of products that I think I want to build. I work at a place that I like, but I don't know what the next step is. If the next step feels blatantly obvious, it's just kind of daunting. The next step is to develop my own product. And I think I'm going to do that even if I'm stuck working a 9 to 5, because it's a passion of mine. And I was always cautious to not turn a passion into a job because I feel like the passion gets lost in translation. But since I have multiple passions, and this is such a broad passion, like if I made it my job to go under my own self as a boss and build something, I just don't see how I can lose. Because even if I fail, there's this satisfaction of looking back and be like, man, I made that. I either made that work. Let's say I make something work, it just doesn't take off. Who cares? It works for me. Like, I want to build this yard machine where it's a residential machine all in one, where you can walk behind or ride behind, and it takes care of your leaves. Because guess what? Everybody is too old to rake leaves. I'm sorry. Now, I know we need to exercise, and that's good. But when I rake leaves, it's like the same thing. So I try to switch, but it's the same thing so often that I end up just feeling damaged. I don't get quite the aerobic. Basically, I don't think it has that much merit as an exercise thing. Plus, it's so seasonal that if it is great exercise, you only get it. I'm sick of raking leaves. I didn't rake these leaves yet. But that's the point. Work on your own stuff. I've taken things apart, figured out how they work, and it's like so satisfying. Now, not everybody gets satisfaction from this. I get it. But I used to run the parts counter at an auto parts store. It was before I knew that not everybody cared about this stuff, basically. I still couldn't quite tell that nobody cared about this stuff. But there's this customer who came in, and he was fixing a lawnmower. And somehow we got to talking. And I remember him saying that, yeah, fixing stuff is like a rush. And I remember thinking like, yeah, right? And because I don't get out enough to see all these people, it felt like the only other person that I've really heard it from that blatantly. I know a couple people who also love fixing things like I do and tearing things apart. But like, this person said it in plain English, that it is a rush to fix a lawnmower. I'm like, absolutely. So we're going to continue. Yes, I've been slowing up because I've been distracted. I've been working on digital stuff. I've been working on trying to get back into sounds. But still, sometimes it feels grounding and it feels even balancing to go out and work on my car. Stuff I've been putting off because I'm like, I don't want to work on it. I just want it to work. But when I fix it, it's like, oh, yeah, that's right. And it is another thing that's kind of like rewards and punishment based. That's how I feel like my brain kind of works. But even when you're getting punished, it feels like progress sometimes. Like I was fixing that Buick and it just wasn't taking it at first. And I think I got it now. But the satisfaction of finding the actual root cause is the best part. A lot of times you just fix something and it's like, oh, I don't know. I took it apart, I cleaned it, I put it back in, now it works. And some people would be satisfied by just saying, okay, well, it's because it was dirty or something. But if you've been in places where I've been, where you've seen the truth so clearly laid out, like you've seen the root cause of an issue, and then you can retroactively go back to all the symptoms that you logged, whether it's on paper or in your head, and you can be like, wait, this puzzle piece, like this fits. This makes that symptom make sense. That symptom makes sense. And sometimes you're still like, that symptom, maybe that's a fluke. And sometimes you figure it out. So hold up the screwdriver. I'm sick of raking leaves.